What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 175 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic host, Carl Wilkin. What's up, dude?
Excited to talk about Regulation D today for
Dude,
realsies this time.
Yeah, so we've kind of touched on it. We've kind of talked about it here and there and like what we've been playing, blah blah blah. I know you've obviously have been very busy with everything going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I've picked it up. I've played some here and there, and I've been playing with almost exclusively like new mons. I want to just try the new stuff, see what's good, and go from there. And with that, I think I've also played against a lot of things that have still been popular, are coming into the format as their own, and are developing and like seeing where this format actually goes. So we have like 6 months here on that we're gonna actually like go kind of deep on and talk about today. But that's like these are 6 new mons that are in the meta that we're gonna talk about. I'm sure we'll talk about some that are old and like what they're still doing, or what happened to them in this format.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to break down in Regulation D because if I remember right, it's like 16 or 18 new fully evolved Pokemon that we didn't have before. A lot of them being like legendary in some aspects, like Urshifu or Cresselia or Heatran and things like that. Um, Genie Trio. Um, but there's definitely some Pokemon that are better than others that are coming in. Cough Cough Urshifu is everywhere. Um, but I've been looking at data more than anything else. I haven't really played a whole lot. So a lot of this is like data driven based off of like usage and results and things like that. Which you'll notice none of the 6 here contains the words Regieleki. Which I know people are probably like, well, where's Regieleki? It's supposed to be so good. You said you hadn't really seen it yet.
I think I can count on one hand the number of games I played against Eliki. And
Which,
I think a lot of it is people are concerned with it being nerfed and with how much power creep is caught up to it. I think are the two big things. The fact that like you aren't able to just incidentally double your bulk anymore means that like your longevity as an Eliki is severely diminished, right?
yeah.
The fact that you're able to like the fact that any Pokemon can now Terra to a form that either resists or is immune to your stab is also a big deal. That being said, Eliki is like one of the big proponents of like what you can do with Terra, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it was banned in singles in a matter of days because like Terra Eliki is absurdly powerful. That being
But when
said, I
you
also
only have to worry about one Pokemon.
true. Like that's the other thing, right? Like when this is the only thing on the field that you have to worry about, it's way harder to play around and like have an answer to. Like, sure, you switch into your ground type, they Terra Blast you, you're dead, right? If you
Yep.
stay in, and if you stay in on your ice resist, and well, suddenly now they're thunderbolting you and you're dead. Like it's way harder to do that in a format where it is a 1v1 versus a format where it's a 2v2 with 2 other mons in the back. And
Yep.
the fact that you can just fake out plus KO, or set screens, sit in front of it, or you can just have natural bulk and be able to tank a hit from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of things that like Eliki isn't able to live multiple hits, whereas the Pokemon that it's targeting down are either designed to live a hit from it and KO it back, or completely ignore it entirely,
Yep.
or double up with its partner to threaten to KO it. Like there's just like a lot of things that are really threatening for Eliki. The fact that like people are adapt to playing against Fluttermane in this format means that there are going to be things that are able to outpace it via like priority. So like Eleki's speed isn't all that useful in a format where priority is good and Tailwind is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're able to when Eleki isn't able to utilize its speed to its fullest potential, it makes it much harder to actually fully utilize the Pokemon. When its one big strength is taken away, you see what is left of it isn't all that appealing.
I'm actually interested in how much like Sucker Punch from Chien-Pao does into Regieleki.
Probably like 800%. I'm
Casual
obviously
92 to 109.
I was gonna
from
say
Adamant 252.
I'm throwing out the number 800, but in reality, like it is, I'm sure a solid percent that just like does not matter about it.
Like any kind of item that boosts Chien-Pao's damage is going to make that an Oko pretty much 100%
Yep.
of the time, which is
Yep,
insane.
not surprised to hear that one bit.
Let's see here. Max HP. I just want to look at it because now I'm interested. Life Orb is what? Probably 1.3. If I could find the item here. Yeah. Adamant, Life Orb, Chien-Pao, Oko's max HP, Regieleki. Every time.
Yeah.
Which, that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
you're never going to be max HP, which means you're going to die to a Sucker Punch from this thing a lot of the time. Because
Yep.
you want to be fast. you want to be fast enough to outspeed stuff, which means you're probably likely max speed or pretty close, and so every Sucker Punch just takes you out. Yeah, that's way too much damage.
And like,
so yeah,
like
it makes sense.
Earlier we were playing. I was playing. Imagine you were watching, and I'm like, I'm curious how much Terra Water Aqua Jet does into Fluttermane here, and it's like 55%.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a just base 40 priority move. Granted, it's boosted by Stab. It's boosted by Terra. It's whatever item you're holding.
In this case, it was Mystic Water.
Like that's a 40 base power move. And granted, Fluttermane is absurdly frail on the physical side, but like so is Eleki. Like Eleki does not have bulk to be able to back it up, whereas Fluttermane has a wide variety of things working for it, right?
Yep.
So I was actually curious. I couldn't remember Eleki's bulk. It's 80-50-50 versus Fluttermane's 55-55 135.
Yep.
So like you're comparable to a physical defense, but your special defense is atrocious. Like in comparison,
Regieleki is a piece of paper, quite literally now.
Yep.
Without being able to double your base HP to an insane number, Regieleki usually just gets one shot unless you're carrying Sash.
Yep. And even then, it just doesn't matter.
Yep. So, that's why we have all these other Pokemon to play with. Moving away from poor Regieleki, who will probably come back eventually after the format kind of settles down.
I'm sure.
You mentioned Tailwind. The big one I want, like the big Tailwind setter now, is Prankster Tornadus, just because that's what Tornadus does. Getting an upgrade in Bleak Windstorm is really good for it.
Mm-hmm.
For those that do not know what Bleak Windstorm does, it's like kind of weaker spread Hurricane that has 100% accuracy in rain.
It is a base 100 power, 80 accuracy spread move with 30% chance to lower their speed by 1. It's like if you combine Hurricane plus Icy Wind, and it's just like absurd. When you hit it, because 80% accuracy is a lie, and in reality, it's a coin flip. It feels like.
Well, that's why you just play Rain Dance.
Because for some reason,
like
because
Hurricane.
it's a storm move, Interestingly, because it is a storm move, it is a wind-based move. So Brambleghast is immune to this.
Wind Rider, let's go.
So I'm not sure if you got to watch it, but Harrison of the Game Quarter recorded a laddering video, and his first match went for a Bleak Wind Storm into a Brambleghast. And he's like, got it.
I
We're
have made a
very
mistake.
sad. We are very sad now. Got it.
Looking through the rest of like Tornadus's coverage, nothing really crazy changed, I don't think.
No,
again,
not really. You have good stab now, so instead of playing Icy Wind as your damaging move, you can play a base 100 power attack.
Yeah. Instead of like relying on Hurricane all the time, you get to play Bleak Wind Storm. Another notable thing is you got access to Chilling Water this generation, which on something fast like Tornadus can actually be viable as a move.
What's the meme? Who's your favorite Pokemon? It gets Trailblaze and Chilling Water. Like,
exactly.
If it doesn't get one, it gets the other.
Exactly. Again, has access to Icy Wind, has access to Grass Knot. Foul Play might come up eventually.
I'm sure it will. We've seen Foul Play Amoonguss popping up. We've seen Heat Wave Tornadoes in the past, which you can do on like Sun teams because it also has access to Sunny Day. New move it has access to. It has access to Snowscape, which I don't think it got access to Hail previously. I don't think we had like a priority Hail setter, right?
I don't think it got Hail previously. I don't think Hail was a TM previously. Outside of like
now that
we
have Snowscape, like this is like you can do this next to Articuno.
Bundle.
Bundle's another one. There's been a lot of I've played against it several times. There's a like Obama Snow Articuno team that's been running around. So like you just Blizzard spam, or you get to see. I'm trying to think what else Articuno was doing. I know it has access to Roost. I think if I remember correctly, there's one like a Japanese tournament, like a Japanese grassroots tournament.
Articuno notable things. We're talking about Ice Articuno, right?
Yes.
Blizzard, Tailwind, Roost.
Yes, that's what it was. It was Tailwind.
Try to think of other random stuff. You get Icy Wind. I think you get Freeze Dry.
Yep, you do.
So that's a big thing.
Freeze Dry, Hurricane, Ice Shard, so you have some kind of priority. Roost, Tailwind. You get, like we said, Blizzard, of course. Terra Blast because everything gets it. You get Helping Hand. For some reason, you get Rain Dance and Sandstorm and Sunny Day.
Did Tornadus have access to Sandstorm before? Because Tornadus has it too.
Interesting.
That's a new one. Okay, hold up.
I don't know if that's good, but it's definitely interesting.
It's definitely interesting because that opens the door to priority sand, which
like I mean the big thing is like you want Tornadus typically wants some kind of weather like move here, right? As a way to disrupt your opponent from doing it or to favor your own game plan. As I'm sure we'll talk about here after a while, Urshifu really likes rain. And
that's the common one.
Heatran really likes sun.
The other common one.
And like there's like Charizard's running around. It's obviously not that good, but I'm actually going to record a video with it soon. I don't know when soon is, but I'm going to do a laddering video
next week, maybe?
with Charizard. Because Angelost made a Charizard team for Pokesports. Harrison, I saw this on Twitter because he's like, "Hey, I made this team. I'm gonna, here's the rental code. Go support the Pokesports. Go watch it." So Harrison went, "I might play this. I might record a video with this." And so then Bruno went, "I'm going to too. I think." I went, Well, if everyone else is, I might as well.
Gotta jump on the bus. Might as well, right?
Like, if everyone else is gonna yoink this team, I might as well too. So,
Yeah.
expect that. Like, Charizard is obviously a very niche Pokemon anymore. But like, we've seen what it can do historically, right? Like, was a defining Pokemon in Gen 6 thanks to
It's
its Mega.
megas.
Was playable in Gen 7 thanks to its Mega. Was playable in Gen 8 thanks to its Gmax form.
Gigantamax.
So, like, Solar Power plus Life Orb is a ton of damage coming off from any attack. The problem is you're still a Charizard.
I was about to say, there's something here that you're not tracking. It's always been boosted by a different gimmick. I don't think Terra is going to do that.
Something else to do your thing. And so, like, obviously you can, like, Terra and have, like, you know, absurd different, like, giving Charizard extra coverage is probably good, right? Everything having access to different coverage is good. It's just a matter of, like, how good can Charizard actually utilize it? And, like, if not, you just Terra Fire and then blow them up even more.
That's about what I expect this to be, I'm going to Terra Fire with Sun Up, Life Orb, Solar Power, and I'm going to try and OHKO you. Like,
let me find the team.
That's what I expect any Charizard team to be.
So we're Terra Fire with Heat Wave, Overheat, Air Slash, Protect.
Not surprised in the least. That is pretty much on brand.
Notably, something else that I don't think really anyone has brought up, and the only reason I mention this is because Angelos has it on their team. Pixie Plate is now a legal item. That is not something that was able to be played previously. So now you just have, like, Pixie Plate boosted Moonblast from Fluttermane.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Life Orb is also just, like, applicable. But if you're doing stuff where if you want to boost your damage to Charizard, you can always play a, like, boosting item on Fluttermane instead.
It's called choice specs, bub.
Yeah, but then you can't imprison Trick Room.
You don't need to.
Hey, I'm just telling you what the team has.
Pixie Plate's cool and all. It's mainly just, like, it's good for the other fairy types, especially, like, Sylveon, who desperately needed it because it didn't really have an item since we lost Pixie Plate, and getting it back makes Sylveon maybe a contender for certain things. Fluttermane's still going to be head and shoulders just the best thing you can play fairy type wise, though. But yeah, Tornadus has a lot going for it. I think there's some really cool stuff. You do have, like, Prankster Bulk Up, which is really cool.
True.
And you
also get Prankster Nasty Plot as well.
Yeah. Like, that's the scary one, is now you have Nasty Plot, so you could just, like, Nasty Plot on a turn where they think you're going to protect, and then just bop them with a Bleak Windstorm.
Is Bulk Up new?
For Prankster Tornadus, I think so.
Very interesting, to say the least.
We also have Metronome.
Which, like, haha, funny meme. But look, if you're playing the Mono Metronome team, now you have another Pokemon for it.
We also have Swagger.
Sick.
Which is interesting.
That's old, right?
I think so, but something that might actually be useful now.
Sure. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure. So, yeah, Tornadus, very good. I know Jay has been running a, like, Terra Dark set that I have incidentally stolen. Most common item is, like, Covert Cloak, because why get Fake Out when instead you can choose not to?
Yeah.
You also ignore stuff like Icy Wind stat drops, Bleak Wind Storm stat drops, Salt Cure. Like, there's a lot of incidental things that you just get to ignore. And
did you know moves have really side effects?
Not according to my Landorus, they don't.
Moving on to probably the other most prolific Pokemon right now running around, I think, is
New Palafin.
New Palafin. This is the best way to describe this. Urshifu Rapid Strike, Urshifu Water, how you want to call it. This thing is still really, really good. We didn't have a really
you get
strong
to slap wet noodles again.
we didn't have a strong water presence in this generation up until like Palafin started to take over, but then it was just Palafin for a while. Now Palafin's got a little bit of competition in the form of Urshifu. Unseen Fist, very good ability. It's even better when you can't like Dynamax and protect in front of it. So I think both Urshifus are going to be playable for the long haul in this format for sure. I think the water one's going to get off a little bit better because it doesn't have like big glaring big 4x weaknesses and stuff. It's not like forced to Terra all the time.
So like, Urshifu is very good. It's doing essentially everything that Palafin was doing previously. You're a strong physical water type that has a good ability and can hit really hard with priority as well.
They should have gave us Wave Crash. God dang it!
The fact that Waterfu has access to Surging Strikes is a huge deal as opposed to Wave Crash, where you have that recoil, but you're taking a ton of it, like you're doing a ton of extra damage. Surging Strikes means that you get to ignore stat drops. You get to ignore stat boosts, as we'll get to here shortly. Iron Defense and Shelter are moves that you need to be aware of, and being able to just crit through them means that it's not a problem. On top of that, I've played against a lot of screens here lately, so being able to just crit through a screen means that it's really good. So
has it been Grimmsnarl setting the screens, or has it just been like random incidental ones?
I've played against Grimmsnarl. I've seen like Sableye. The one Eliki I remember seeing was screens, and then it set reflect, and then I Surging Striked into it, and it went away. So I never got to see anything else that it was doing.
It's interesting. Like we were talking about Regieleki again doing the screens things. Is that's what it was doing to start the format was the screen stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what Regieleki kind of gets relegated to do later.
And Urshifu also has a couple new things in its move pool. Notably, it has access to Ice Spinner, which is just like good incidental coverage that's not Ice Punch. Because this removes terrain. You have access to Trailblaze because of course it does. Why wouldn't it? It has access to notably Swords Dance now, which
that's a new one.
It's really good. Granted, that's more of like a singles thing where you're getting to do stuff with like Dark Urshifu, because Water Urshifu did not get a chance to play in OU because it's obviously very powerful when you can't protect in front of it. But you have a lot of things working for you. Please stop playing Punching Glove. It's bad and makes your Unseen Fist not work.
Play Protective Pads.
Like, Protective Pads is absurd. Let me tell you the reasons you play Protective Pads. You don't get hit by static from Zapdos and instead can punch them and make them sad.
No Flame Body.
You don't get to hit Flame Body off of like stuff like Volcarona, which obviously not very popular right now because there's a new if you can believe it, being a fire type in a format dominated by a physical water type means that you're going to have a bad time.
I would not be surprised to see Volcarona pop up with Terra Grass just to sit in front of this thing and just eat it alive.
Yeah, I mean, if they Surging Strikes into you and you Terra Grass, take the hit, get a Flame Body off, then you're golden, right?
Yeah, you only need
unless they're Protective Pads, and then you're sad.
Which you'll know with the way the format goes is you'll know that ahead of time in best of 3. So
yeah, and I mean unless you're playing on ladder where it's best of 1, you just are laddering. But yeah, Protective Pads has been really, really good for me in practice. You don't get stuff like Rough Skin or Rocky Helmet. These are all relevant things that are running around in this format where you're going to be sad when you Surging Strikes into an Amoonguss and you take 50% back.
Protective Pads doesn't protect you from Pickpocket.
Yeah, which how relevant is that?
I mean, they can steal your Protective Pads. That's how relevant it is. But my pads. I want to keep my pads.
So, if you played in Series 5 forward, you're going to be aware that Urshifu is a very powerful Pokemon. This is nothing new. Urshifu was able to do massive damage to Dynamax Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dynamax doesn't exist. You're not going to have a Pokemon incidentally gain double its bulk.
There's no way to protect in front of it now, ever.
Unless they're Punching Glove. Stop playing Punching Glove, people. Please.
I have to see. This.
I'm sure it's
updated
not.
Their thing?
Oh, I guarantee they haven't. Why would they?
Okay,
Holy cow, they have.
I don't see protective. I don't see Punching Glove on here, so that's good. That's a start.
Okay, good.
I also don't see protective pads. Come on, people.
It is a very niche item. I will be the first to admit that. But man, when it's good, it's great. Mystic Water is obviously going to be your most seen and most viable item, because getting to boost your water damage is going to be very good. Stuff like I've seen my opponent's Terra Grass, which then is really good for the mirror because it's not, you're still going to get hit with a close combat, but being able to I've ran into Terra Grass Trailblaze Urshifu. It's I have no chance of ever beating that. Got it.
Looking at since Pikalytics is updated and looking at usage status, it's tied with Fluttermane in overall usage.
Yeah, which is not surprising. These two together are very good. Urshifu is going to be checked by Fluttermane, which is going to be checked by Urshifu.
It's literally just I have Sash on my Urshifu, so I can Surging Strikes the Fluttermane, and I'm gonna fake out your partner, and I'm gonna do the same, and it'll be this fun rock paper scissors for a while.
And they're very good together, especially when you have stuff like Tornadus to back them up to be able to provide extra speed control. I know we mentioned it, but Palafin Rain was a thing that existed. Now, instead of playing bad Pokemon like Pelipper, instead you can play a good Pokemon like Tornadus. And instead of playing a Pokemon that's kind of falling off the side of the earth in Pelipper, you get to play Urshifu. Let me tell you how good rain-boosted Surging Strikes is. It's absurd. It is massive amounts of damage that you're going to just be sad when you see it happen.
Yeah. Are we done ranting about Urshifu? Can we move on?
It's really good, man. I'm for a minute I was really scared that it was just going to be dominant, and it is, right? Obviously this is a very powerful Pokemon. There's a 50% chance you run into it per match, but it's also not overly powerful.
I'm just gonna bring Terra Fairy Gastrodon and sit in front of it forever.
Or Terra Steel, and then you body both it and
you can't Terra Steel because Terra Steel.
Oh yeah. You're right. Terra Ghost.
I mean that works, but you could get hit by Shadow Ball.
Yeah, true. All right, so
Terra Fairy is neutral from Fluttermane and resisted hits from Urshifu. You'll be fine.
It's fine. So Urshifu continues to be very good. It's going to continue to be very good, but very similar to Fluttermane, it doesn't feel unbalanced and unfair in what it's doing. What it's doing is pretty predictable, and you just have to have an answer to it. You want to talk about an answer to Urshifu?
Is it the shell armor Hydra Hisui I have on screen right now?
One of the only matches I've lost today was to Shelter Screens Life Do Shell Armor Gudra.
This thing is a menace. You guys thought Garganackle was bad? This thing's worse.
It's really good.
I love this thing.
I know Jay had a grassroots tour today that he played with Gudra
8-0.
and yeah, ended up winning the event with it. To the surprise of no one, like Jay is obviously very good, right? Jay is a insane player who has come into his own, and I'm glad to see him succeed. Gudra's dumb.
I am so happy that there's a Gudra that's good.
It's so good, man. It genuinely is really good. When compared to typical Gudra, it's much better. That being said, I have a really good Gudra answer. It's just dragon energy them.
I mean, if they're Terra Steel, you're not doing enough.
Man, you're not wrong. I haven't seen Terra Steel on it at all. I've seen Terra Fairy, and like that.
Oh
that was
my
one
god, that just makes me really sad.
Yeah, they Terra, like I hit them with Dragon Energy, did like 55. They recovered with leftovers. Next turn they Terra Fairied and body pressed me, which did not KO. So the following turn, I Terra Steel, Terra Blasted them.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
If we're gonna play this back and forth, I'm gonna come out ahead. And yeah, Reggie Drago's really fun, man. I have really enjoyed playing with it. It's
do we have heavy
getting
slam
to
on
click
this
the
thing?
button and just go burr is really cool. You do, yes. I've seen a lot of like this set is the set I've seen a lot. But you know, there's definitely counterplay to like Shelter, Life Do. Tornadus has access to Taunt, which makes him sad.
Did you know this thing got access to Fate?
What?
What? Where?
No.
When? How?
Why?
Oh my goodness! Hold the phone.
Yeah, that's really
just
cool.
That's actually
that
like
is,
super
that is really,
neat.
really cool.
Holy
good?
cow.
I don't know. Cool? Absolutely.
I think that's gonna actually be huge. Like this thing just wants to sit on the battlefield and do its thing. If it's set up and you're not dealing with it, you're trying to deal with all the partners, it can just break protects for you and just while you blow up the rest of the team. Like that's actually really cool. God dang. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Another cool thing is like curse works really well on this on this Gudra specifically. The way the stats broke down for this, you got extra attack for 20 points of speed, if I remember right. And so now you can do like curse things and play this kind of thing, like a thing with like Trick Room or other stuff like that. If Shelter's not your jam, then you could probably set up with curse and kind of just go nuts. But yeah, I think the Shelter or the Acid Armor body press stuff is super duper cool.
Acid Spray is really interesting.
Acid Spray's, yeah, I saw that. That was the first move I clicked when I came down here. It was like Acid Spray is super cool. Like it lets you kind of do like the feint stuff. It's just like once you get set up, if they're just going to ignore you, you just Acid Spray so your partner can take it out or whatever.
Yep, it's interesting and you have a lot really working for you.
I want to see more Hisuian Gudra teams. I love this Pokemon. I'm sad they did the shiny no justice whatsoever, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not great.
Could have had a really cool shiny. Could have had a really cool shiny.
I saw it today and went, ooh, that kind of ugly.
Let's talk about this one trick pony that's called a Ursaluna.
Yeah, it's called Protect in front of Urshifu and Die. That's its trick.
Yeah. Like Flame Orb Guts with base 140 attack. Like this thing hits like a truck if it's not staring down an Urshifu. So, like, I imagine the teams that are playing this will have good Urshifu answers, um, and
That's the hope, right?
it'll
Like
kind of
you're
it'll kind
typically
of evolve from there, probably.
so. I have said this in the past, and I will continue to say it. I don't think Ursa Luna is nearly as good as everyone anticipated. That being said, its counterpart Cresselia is. Cresselia is and will continue to be very powerful and by far the best trick room setter in the game. That being said, you obviously need a trick room sweeper to do trick room things. It needs to be more than just like a form of speed control. You need to be able to abuse it. And Ursa Luna is very good at that. It is honestly, it probably is the best trick room sweeper in the game. I just don't think it by itself is very good.
Well, that's exactly why you see it's always Cresselia, Ursaluna plus something
Yeah,
like
you're
an
like
Amoonguss or
naked
whatever.
Ursa Luna's bad.
Yeah,
I
naked
think
Luna's never good.
I think if you're trying to do like fast Ursa Luna things, it's pretty like really underwhelming. And Ursa Luna kind of feels like what Palafin did near the end of its lifespan, right? It felt very predictable in what it was trying to do. You are trying to get a flame orb boost, may that be swapping in or protecting, to then make yourself even more powerful. So if you lead this plus Cresselia, it's very apparent that you're going to protect with Ursa Luna to try to set Trick Room. That's like the line, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are making the mistakes of how they're playing Ursa Luna. I don't think this is a Pokemon you want to lead on. I think this is a Pokemon that you want to be able to swap into on like the first set on like the first turn of Trick Room or the turn you go to set it, and then are able to abuse it from there. So stuff like Amoonguss plus Cresselia, I think, is a very good lead. You have a form of redirection, so Cresselia is able to live and set Trick Room for you. If Amoonguss does stay alive, you have access to Fast Spore. You have recovery thanks to Lunar Dance. Lunar Blessing?
Lunar Blessing.
Okay. Lunar Dance is the other one where it like knocks itself out, right?
I think so.
Okay. So, like, that seems really good. So then the play there then is Rage Powder with Amoonguss, swap in Ursa Luna, get your Flame Orb boost because it procs at the end of that first turn, and then you have your Trick Room Sweeper next to a support Pokemon that's able to pressure your opponent in an effective manner.
I think Ursaluna is another one of those Pokemon that benefits from open team sheet a lot too. Knowing who's got goggles, who's got like what the Urshifu's doing.
Very true.
Like when you see all of it, you can kind of like it's kind of like approaching a Dondozo matchup. It's like I know you have a way to deal with this Pokemon, but when I know
it's
how you're going to deal with it,
yeah,
like then I can adjust my game plan and then I can win with it from there. Ursaluna's very scary when it gets to do its thing. I haven't found a Pokemon yet that's not a ghost type that can usually live a Terra normal facade.
Steelix?
Steelix isn't in the game.
Well, look, man, I'm giving you answers.
Next.
I didn't say they were illegal.
I think Gudra takes it pretty well.
Garganachi probably takes it.
It does a lot though.
It does. But then you're able to get like an Iron Defense up, get a Recover up the next turn.
I want to see. I'm gonna do some math. You keep talking.
You want me to vamp? So
yeah.
So Ursaluna, you can just do like this three attacks plus protect thing. You also have access to Swords Dance, so if you want to go that route. But like you're almost always going to be Guts, right? Like there's really no reason to ever be anything other than Guts. Your other ability is Bulletproof, which makes you immune to bullet moves. I can't name a single relevant bullet move.
Bullet moves are, I believe, Pollen Puff.
Pollen Puff is a bullet move?
I believe it is considered a bullet move.
Interesting.
Because we had this conversation about Chespin
Yeah, chestnut.
Chestnut, yeah, because it has bulletproof.
Sludge bomb.
Yes.
So you just are immune to you're immune to Amoongus because you have your flame orb to burn you on that set, so you can't be put to sleep. And then the bulletproof set is just immune to both of the attacks.
There you go.
Is it
Problem
good?
solved.
No.
So looking at Gudra, you're taking like 58 to 70% from a facade.
That's a facade. That's not an earthquake.
That's a facade from Terra Normal. You're 252 on your defenses for the Gudra. That is a resisted hit from this Ursaluna. That thing
man.
is wrecking people. Like holy crap.
I'm not going to argue that. You are able to KO anything that you can possibly think of.
I thought it would do less. That's what I'm getting to. I thought it would be less.
Too. It's just, man, it is absurd.
You do pretty much the same amount to Garganackle.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's
to most of the Garg sets, it's just like it's the same damage. That's insane, man. That is way too much damage for one Pokemon. But yeah, like this thing will do better once everybody's an open team sheet. I expect this thing to be popular at Worlds just because it's like you said, probably the best Trick Room Sweeper we have access to right now. It's very Glastrier kind of vibes where it's just like perfectly built to play in Trick Room. And we'll find somebody who's gone against the grain and done something interesting with it, and that's why that Ursaluna wins.
All right, so bulletproof.
Are you? No, there'll probably still be guts.
Are you ready for these moves? Because there's some weird ones, man.
Go for it.
Acid spray.
Yep,
I knew that one.
I knew that one.
Bullet seed makes sense.
Obviously.
Electro ball.
Yep, I knew that one.
Energy ball.
Yep.
Focus blast.
Yep, I knew that one.
Gyro ball.
That one I didn't know was a bullet move, but sure.
Pollen puff.
I knew that one. Yep.
Pyro ball.
I knew that one.
Rock blast.
Yep.
Seed bomb.
Yep.
Shadow ball.
Yep.
Sludge bomb.
Of course.
Weather ball.
Yep.
Zap cannon.
I did not know Zap cannon was a bullet move.
There's a couple others in there that aren't currently in the game because they don't have a Pokemon that learns them. I think one that's really interesting that you're immune to, Rock Wrecker.
It's in the same vein of Rock Blast, yeah.
Yeah.
So like when you said you're like, oh, all these what are bullet moves? I'm like, anything with the word ball at the end of it usually is considered a bullet move. Yep. Because of the way that they get translated, they're considered bullet moves with the Japan language.
Yep. It's just there's some weird ones, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Focus blast, translated from Japanese, is fighting spirit bullet.
Yep. Usually it has to involve like a projectile of some sort. Like Seed Bomb is thrown seeds. Shadow Ball is literally a ball of ghostly energy. Like Focus Blast, Aura Sphere, all that stuff.
Despite some moves affected by this ability having cannon in their English and or Japanese name, Spike Cannon, Flash Cannon, Hydro Cannon, Fluor Cannon, and Dynamax Cannon are unaffected by it.
It's because usually most of the cannon moves are described as beam.
Uh-huh.
And Zap Cannon is the only one that's not actually a beam because it's a ball of electricity.
Aura Sphere translated is Wave Bomb, which is cool.
The more you know.
Fighting Spirit Bullet is such a cool name, though.
Okay, moving on to Heatran.
Hey, did you know that Heatran's really good? And you can Terra Grass and then be immune to fire moves.
Did you know the thing that Armor Rouge was doing in Series 1?
Yeah, but now you get to do it better because you're Heatran.
Yeah, you just get to do it better because you're Heatran. And you can answer all the problematic fairy types. I have Heatran on my draft league team, and the even the threat of becoming a Terra, something that's not weak to ground, puts enough pressure on people that they have to hit, like they have to respect either the Terra or they have to all in on Heatran.
Yep, it's. I played a lot with Heatran when I was on my singles kick right after the new mons got added, and it's really good, man. The set I'm playing is actually the singles set. I just literally translated it over.
I'm not surprised. Like Heatran is very kind of like a, this is what Heatran is doing. You're not really doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, it's like, here's my fire move, here's my steel move, here's earth power, and then whatever.
And you're like, so I'm playing Magma Storm because it's just like extra residual damage. It's a base 100 power move. Downside is it's 75%.
I'm about to say, it's like it's about it does not hit very often. I would much rather like risk an overheat.
Look, man, this team originally had Lilligant as well, like Hisuian Lilligant. So let me tell you how many games I lost for missing a Bleakwind Storm or any hustle move or a Magma Storm.
Yeah, I would much rather play like Heat Wave or Overheat if I'm going to play an inaccurate move. That's just
actually
how I
less
play.
than you would think, and most of them are all because of Lilligant.
One of the cool things that Heatran also gets to do is it also gets to do like the body press iron defense stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's another cool thing. Like you're no slouch when it comes to your defensive stats. Your bulk's fairly decent across the board.
Yeah, 91, 106, 106 is really good bulk.
And so you have a decent like support pool with like Taunt and Will-O-Wisp and stuff. So it's like Heatran's not always just going to be like click the damaging special move, but that's what it's going to do a lot of the time. This thing gets Pounce. Why does it get Pounce?
The same reason it gets access to, I don't know, man. Scroll up a little bit. Let me find another stupid move.
It doesn't have Chilling Water. It doesn't have Trailblaze, so that must be the other stupid move. This Pounce.
Like, it doesn't make thematic sense that Heatran gets access to it. I'm just saying they need to bring back Scald and give Heatran Scald.
God, no. No, we're good.
Let me live in magical Christmas land, Carl.
Is Stomping Tantrum new?
I think so.
Because
I
remember,
you're also never playing Heatran physical, right?
You say that. I've done it. You say that. I've done it before. Speaking of Rock Blast.
Better not click it into Ursaluna, man. You never know.
You never know.
Immune.
Yeah, like Heatran does a lot of cool things. I am going to die on this hill. I think Terra Bug is always optimal for Heatran.
Talk to me.
So Heatran, 4 times weakness to ground, Bug resist ground. Removing one of Bug's weaknesses in the way of common weaknesses in the way of fire. And most of the time, if they can't hit you with a ground type move, Urshifu is going to hit you with close combat.
Okay.
So you resist close combat then. You also become neutral to surging strikes. Whereas you would flip-flop the other way, but close combat is going to do more overall than surging strikes would. So you kind of can play it either way, but I do think that Bug is going to become the more optimal type, and we're kind of seeing it already when you look through teams like Heatran Terra types. It's kind of pretty much split between both Bug and Grass.
Counterpoint, Grass means I'm immune to Amoonguss.
I don't care about Amoonguss.
All right, that's fair. You're a Heatran. You don't care.
Most Heatran just OHKO most Amoonguss. So
yeah, Heatran is and will continue to be a very good Pokemon.
This is another Pokemon that plays alongside Cresselia.
You know what? You know what else this can actually play alongside and not be bad? You can do Darkspun things finally because you have an actual good Lava Plumer.
I'm about to say we have Lava Plume, right? So we actually get to just like do Lava Plume things.
Or you can pair this. You can put like Chi Yu next to this and Lava Plume, and then like any good attack off of Heat Train because you have Flash Fire boost.
I would just spam Lava Plume.
Yeah,
Lava Plume off everyone.
I mean, yeah. But like Lava Plume into Heat Wave so you're not hitting your Chi Yu sounds pretty okay.
Yeah.
I have something to go work on. It sounds dumb and stupid and I want to do it.
So this last one here, kind of quietly been picking up in popularity. Overquill. This thing's kind of decent, actually. I would call this probably one of the better intimidators right now, just because of its typing and its move pool.
So here's the thing about Overquill. It's really cool, man. You get a lot of really like unique attacks and a lot of power. So your typing is very unique with Dark Poison. You have one weakness, right? And a ton of resistances, a ton of immunities. And what you can do, thanks to your abilities, is you can be a Swift Swim abuser. You can be a Rain abuser without being another water type for your team.
Yeah.
So typically you see like Tornadus, Urshifu, Overquill as like a core that you can run and have it have a rain theme to it and just have incidental rain boosts to this. You get Waterfall, you get Liquidation, you get Aqua Jet, which is just a ton of damage. You can Terra Water if you want that extra damage. You can be Life Orb and just like punch people. You also get Barb Barrage, which is its signature attack. Base 60 damage, 100 accuracy, doubles the damage if they are poisoned. And
it's physical Venoshock that can actually poison people.
Yeah, it's just better Venoshock. Yeah. It's, 50% to poison?
It's 50%. Venoshock doesn't have a chance to poison.
I lost a game earlier because I missed 5 poisons in a row.
Oof.
And had any of them poisoned, I win.
That's some bad coin flips there, bub.
To be fair, my RTT luck with Tropius was absurd before I dropped it. I think I missed 1 harvest all season with it.
Makes sense. Oh, this has the stockpile spit up. It doesn't have Swallow, which is fine. But stockpile is kind of interesting.
Swallow?
No.
Weird. Okay.
I think stockpile is still fine.
I mean, yeah, getting a +1 to your defense and special defense is really good.
Like that's decent, especially on something like this where you're kind of lacking. Like you said, you play Assault Vest. I think that's like perfect for it.
Assault Vest means that you live a Terra Fairy Moonblast with essentially no investment. Yeah, I'm 4 EVs. Give me that extra point, and it's enough to be able to live a hit. And I have no HP investment either. I'm max speed, max attack. It's like the one thing missing from Overquill that would make it absurd is some type of pivoting move. If this got access to Flip Turn, I'd love it.
Oh my god! Don't give us like they specifically. I like when I asked about Flip Turn earlier, I realized how stupid I was because it has Intimidate. That's why we don't get that.
Yes, correct.
It's the Gyarados. It's the Gyarados rule. That's why.
Yeah.
But like we mentioned, Facade on Ursaluna. This is another Pokemon that's like Facade is an option.
Yeah, you get access to Facade. If you want just a stronger like immediate move, you have access to Gunk Shot. You have Icy Wind for a form of speed control. Obviously, your special attack's not great at 65, especially if you're like minus nature, which you're typically going to be. But speed control is speed control.
Like if you're doing the Swift Swim thing, Icy Wind is probably really good.
You also get access to Taunt. You get access to Swords Dance. You have access to Hex and Haze. Which if there are any Dozos running around, you can punish them that way.
Acupressure.
I played against Minimize Overquill earlier.
I'm not surprised. That's
they
actually...
died. They didn't do anything. They clicked Minimize and then died the next turn.
Yeah,
but they did it. And then if you want to be cheeky, you have access to self destruct.
Just blow it up.
You have a lifespan. You might as well use all of it.
We have fighting coverage in reversal. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. You get Fellstinger as well. I legitimately think Overquill is highly, highly, highly underrated. And like I think this is a Pokemon that is like my projection for sleeper pick right now. I think this Pokemon is just so highly underrated and is going to just when it does something, I'm gonna be the first to say I told you so. It's currently less than 1% played according to Pikalytics, and I think that's so sad.
Yeah. Part of it might be Basculegion doing like the Swift Swim thing probably a little bit better.
Yeah,
Most people are playing
is
it as Swift Swim. They're playing Choice Band though.
Basculegion though is weak to Fluttermane.
Yeah.
You do resist hits from Urshifu, which is obviously very good. But Overquill slaps, man.
I like Overquill a lot. I also have a shiny that I want to bring over and use from PLA. So
it's such a good looking shiny.
I love it. I love the shiny. I worked very hard to find it. I'm so excited to use it. All right. Any other Pokemon you want to talk about before we head out?
Let's see. Just quickly running down Pikalytics numbers here. Chien-Pao continues to be very good. Fluttermane continues to be very good. Amoonguss is the best support Pokemon still. We didn't talk about Landorus. I think you could do like an entire video over like why Landorus is good and why people are still not playing enough of it.
I think Landorus's stock will go up as we get farther along into the meta. Right now, it struggles a lot because everybody's playing Water Urshifu, and like Water Urshifu doesn't care about the Intimidate because Surgery Strikes is still going to probably Oko or Landorus most of the time.
Yep.
So I think that's part of it. Why we're seeing less play. Landorus probably also doesn't appreciate Fluttermane just sitting in front of it and hitting you with like a Moonblast or something.
Another one that we could really talk about is Enamorus. Both of its forms are very good in very different ways. That's another Pokemon I think we could like do an entire deep dive and like talk about.
Yeah, Terra Fairy Fluttermane can easily just blow this thing up. That's interesting. That's kind of scary. And then, like we said, Urshifu kind of just Surging Strikes just takes you out even through an Intimidate. So it's like you're forced to Terra. Like
yeah.
So like that's part of the problem for Landorus. Is it's like yes, you can intimidate stuff, but like you're not intimidating the Pokemon that matters. And like while steel types are good, most steel types are through Terra and not actual steel types, or they are a steel type that tears away from steel. So it's just like Landorus's usage is, like I said, probably going to go up as we get further along in the format, but right now is kind of just in the tank just because Intimidate and Landorus itself isn't that great right now. You could probably play Landorus Incarnate more often.
I have been playing a handful of games here with Landorus Incarnate so far. Sandsear Storm?
Yes.
Is that right?
It's the burn one.
It's better Scorching Sands?
It's spread Scorching Sands.
It's spread Scorching Sands? That's 100% accurate in rain. Which
makes 0 sense.
It's a sandstorm. It should have 100% accuracy.
Here's how they should have done this, okay? Spring Break Storm should have been 100% in sun.
Yep.
Sand Sear Storm should have been 100% in Sandstorm. Bleak Wind Storm should have been 100% in Snowscape. Wild Bolt Storm should have been 100% in rain. That's how they should have done it. Each one gets its own weather pattern. Instead, we have 3 of them boosted by rain, and then Springtide Storm not doing anything. It's just bad.
Yep.
Like, come on. The opportunity was there. You could have done this, and it would have been great, but you didn't do it. And now it's just like this weird, awkward scenario of, let's put these 3 in rain, even though only really 2 of them like rain. And then there's Landorus, who just doesn't want to play in the rain ever because it's just getting blown up by any water move thrown its way at that point. And then poor Enamorous is off to the side, kind of just looking at its Springtide Storm and not really doing anything. Missed opportunity. Good job, Pokemon.
Agreed. We didn't even touch Zapdos. Zapdos is another one that we could talk about quite a bit.
Like,
we might do a part 2 of this next week of just like talking about more Pokemon that
I'd be down for that.
On.
Like this is fun, just exploring each of the Pokemon individually.
Like it is essentially a month's worth of deep dives compressed into an episode, right?
Like deep dives themselves are fun, but they take so much time to get 10 minutes worth of content out of. So this is a much nicer format for them, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I think this is
put a pin in it, and we'll come back next week for part 2.
So yeah, that's the goal for this week. Is I want to hear everyone's comment down below of like what you want us to talk about next week, because we need like 6 more Pokemon to talk about.
Yeah, 6 or 7. That's fine.
Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna put that out in the world and make everyone else do the work.
Sounds like a plan to me. Okay, so let's get on out of here then.
All right. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. This has been an absolute blast, and is going to continue to just be a very, very fun time. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, so you can get notifications when new stuff goes live. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, get notifications, all that good stuff, and leave us a 5-star review to tell people, hey, this stuff is really enjoyable. You should listen to them. They kind of know what they're talking about sometimes.
Occasionally.
Occasionally they go on weird rants talking about things that no one's doing.
Yeah.
And you can always go ahead and follow us over on Twitter at lrlessons.com. At lrlessons. Myself at Mr. Missouri 25 and Carl's at Musical VGC. Carl and I are both on Twitch. I know he's been streaming his Draft League matches every week, so make sure you go ahead and follow him over there. That is at Musical. You can find me on there as well at Mr. Missouri 25. Come and hang out in our community Discord, where you get to see all of our Draft League stuff that's going on. You get to see and just hang out with all of our amazing friends, and be a part of this wonderful community that we have of almost 600 subs on YouTube. And
yeah, we're pretty close. We're 15 away.
We're just under 800 people in the server, I think, something like that.
Yep.
So, just absolutely absurd. And I know I talked about this last week. I never envisioned us getting this far, and it's amazing to me that we have all the support that we do every week.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
So you can also, if you're interested, you can always subscribe over on Discord. Server subscriptions are a thing that exist, and I want to give a shout out to Smeargle for being in that $10 tier. He has done an absolute ton for us over the last several years, and he's a wonderful person. So huge shout outs to him. Also, you can go ahead and follow us over on our website at lrlessons.com and check out the merch page while you're there, while it's still up until we. I have a couple new sites that I came across that I'm going to look into, figure out what they have, and my big thing is I'm a very large person. I want to make sure that I can get the clothes that I'm going to be able to wear to represent my brand.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the places don't carry large male
sizes
sizes.
past. Yeah, I'm about to say they don't carry sizes past double XL or whatever. Which
I am a little bit bigger than that,
just a little bit, just a wee bit.
So that's kind of the holdup, is just trying to find the right site to do what we need them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested in supporting us, you can always do so over at patreon.com. For as little as like 50 cents an episode, you can help keep us happy and entertained, and pay all the bills that it takes to run this.
Speaking of this, like, Patreon is just like it's probably going to start. We're finding a use for it. We started recording using Riverside, and this whole setup is amazing. Thanks, Game Corner, for getting us.
Thanks for showing us how great this is, because it honestly has been really good. I mean, it takes everything that like we were doing before and just simplifies it.
Yep.
It used to be to peel back the curtain, talk about how the sausage is made a little bit. It used to be I would have to record something, Carl would have to record something, our videos would have to be, and we wouldn't be able to see each other all the time because our cameras had to be recorded as well. And so it was just like really awkward, and there was a lot of files being shared and everything, and Riverside takes care of all of it. So huge shout outs to them. Their stuff is great, and if you're interested in starting something like that, I would highly recommend their stuff. And shout outs to the patrons who are
helping us pay for this now.
Want to give a special shout out to our $10 and up patrons, including Johnny Bravo Sr., who they're great.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be it for this week. I know the end of these episodes kind of start to ramble a little bit, but
we got a lot to cover because we want to give everybody content in the early parts, and nobody listens to the back half of these anyway, so we try to put all of the boring stuff at the end.
I also understand that if we plug stuff at the beginning, we'd probably see better results of stuff because people are going to listen to it, or plug it in the middle of stuff. But who cares?
Yeah, it's fine.
We've done 175 of these at this point. I think we know what we're doing a little bit, but
I focus more on giving people content rather than pushing our stuff. If they want to come support us, they can support us. They can come find
exactly.
They can do the work.
They will find a way to support us. So, I think that's going to be it. I think we're done rambling and having a bunch of sausage talk here. So
yeah,
let's get out of here, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Until then, have a good one. Peace.